The islands of Malta had experienced an action-packed history since they were first occupied by a temple culture over 5,000 years ago. They'd become trading outposts for the great Phoenician seafarers and were then tossed like a pawn in a giant game of chess as Romans, Normans, Arabs, French and Germans all vied for domination of the Mediterranean down through the centuries. Now they were in the hands of Charles V of Aragon, King of Spain, and he was about to give them to the Knights of St. John as their future home, a move that would have tremendous implications for the future of Christianity. When Charles V of Aragon gave Malta to the Knights, he appeared to be helping them and protecting the citizens. In reality, he was creating a Christian outpost, and one that he hoped would defend Europe from the might of Islam and the Ottoman Turks.
They settled in Birgu, just across the Grand Harbour. Birgu was a fishing village, and they just settled there because they could berth their boats in the harbour. And they set up their auberges there, and of course their hospital. They had to build a hospital first of all. And they fought the Great Siege there, because obviously the Turks were not going to allow them to settle in the centre of the Mediterranean. So the first thing they did was build a small line of fortification just around Birgu. Later on, the Knights were to build an enormous fortification around the three cities.
The Knights fortified Fort St. Angelo on Birgu, Fort St. Michael, which protected the approach to the Sengli Peninsula, and Fort St. Elmo, facing the sea on the point of Mount Sabaras. Combined with the paintings in the Grand Council chamber, a boat trip from Marsamxett Harbour around the point of Fort St. Elmo into Grand Harbour, with the three promontories and their inner harbours, gives a unique appreciation of the horrors of the siege that was to come. The Turkish fleet arrived in May 1565 with 200 ships and 40,000 soldiers. Although the Grand Master La Valette had appealed to the Viceroy in Sicily for help and to all absent knights to return quickly to Malta, the defence consisted of only 700 knights, 3,000 Maltese volunteers and 4,000 mercenaries. The peasants rushed into the fortresses with the last of the food and their livestock. Medina, where the cavalry was quartered, closed its gates, and poison was dropped into the wells where the enemy were expected to make their camp. St. Elmo was the first to be attacked, and the Turkish commander thought it would take only 5 days for them to surrender. The 60 knights and their men clung on for 31 days. When the Turkish flag was raised on June the 23rd, there were no known survivors, but the Turks had lost 8,000 men, including their great commander, Dragu. Now they turned their attention to Fort St. Michael and St. Angelo. La Valette refused to capitulate, and the murderous battles raged through July into August. Food ran out and the besieged citizens ate rats. The Turks launched fanatical and suicidal attacks, and the sea was red with blood. Christian robes mingled with Turkish standards in the waters. On August the 7th, the walls of Birgu were breached, and it seemed victory was in the hands of the Turks. But Valette and the remaining knights would not surrender. It was not enough for the knights to die for the order of Christ, but to die honourably and courageously. And to die a hero's death on a stage watched by the whole of Europe was an opportunity to reap honour that came to few. Their passionate resistance and the arrival of the 200-member garrison from Medina caused the Turks to lose heart, even though they continued to bombard the city with their guns. On September the 7th, 28 ships and 8,000 men arrived to relieve the knights, and the Turks, who had lost 30,000 men, left the islands. Of the entire force, only the Grand Master, a few knights, and less than 600 men survived. They had been under siege for 3 months. For more information, visit our website on topoftheworld.net.